All right, I think we're going to get started. So this is our last session for today. It's the augmented reality brings out-of-home advertising into your home. It is going to be given by James Giglio. He is the CEO and founder of MVP Interactive. James is the founder and CEO. Prior to founding the company, James worked in the finance world. He left the finance world for advertising, where his zeal for imagination and creativity and passion for sports led to the formation of his company, MVP. MVP is an XR technology company that creates immersive consumer engagements for such brands as Samsung, AT&T, Coca-Cola, the NFL, the NBA, and much more. Give a hand for James.
All right, thank you very much. I understand that this is the last session of the night, so I know we all want to get to that reception and hit the happy hour, so I'll keep this nice and brief and concise. One part for that reason, the other part, unfortunately, our counterparts with the Titans had a unforeseen circumstance come up, so unfortunately they are not able to co-present, but I'm close enough to the project in terms of the full creative and how we produce the experience. So I'll do my best and I'll be real concise. So essentially, my company provides a full suite of experiential technologies. And traditionally, we are very much an activation-based company, meaning that we are either on concourse, in venue, or producing a wide range of technologies for sponsored events or tentpole marketing events. Obviously, the pandemic shifted all of the activation and technologies that we were able to produce in years past, and we really needed to get smart with our offerings. So we wanted to provide a consultancy service to all of our clients and kind of reach out and let them know we're here to provide any level of consultancy to help your brand activate, whether that's in venue, digitally, or somewhere in between. And so gratefully, we were able to work with in-venue opportunities in Memphis, just across the state with Graceland. And so we were able to build a full suite of experiential technologies that would garnish a new fan of Elvis. You know, my mother's very proud that I know more than I ever thought about Elvis than in my entire life. So while we were leveraging the traditional technologies throughout Graceland, we connected with the Tennessee Titans to learn about what some of their challenges were. So obviously last year, if we all remember with the NFL, they were very coy with what they were going to do or allow or not allow with stadiums in terms of letting fans in the venues. And so they really kept quiet and sort of wanted to not show their hands in what stadiums and states were allowed to do. So I think regionally there were some stadiums that were allowed to activate, but conservatively everyone wanted to keep safety on the forefront, including the Titans. Now, what was also unique and unfortunate for not only the state of Tennessee in particular, but Nashville, they were dealing with severe tornadoes, natural occurrences with poor weather, the pandemic, and so they really wanted to pay homage to their community. And so anyone that has been to Nashville understands the culture of what that city really embodies is the proud nature of being a Nashvilleian, as well as having a mural arts program that really ties into the tourism community in that going throughout the city of Nashville, you can go through strategic art tours to check out murals that are throughout the city. And so when we met with the team and they told us about what their campaigns were going to be about, they weren't sure what the in-venue experience was going to be like, but they gave us a little site tour of this beautiful canvas. And at the time, it was a blank canvas in a vacant lot that ranged about 168 feet long. And so they envisioned this artist, they eventually envisioned this artwork that would show the pride and the resilience of the city, as well as getting a hype for their team to get fans really excited for the upcoming season. So they commissioned a local artist called Eric Moby. He was one of the most talented people I've ever seen with freehand spray paint that he literally, without making any mistakes, painted this wonderful mural that we eventually came to life. And so as you'll see in this upcoming video, they really wanted to call out the pride and the messaging behind the Titans tough or Tennessee tough resilience of the city for the state. And so you'll see throughout the experience as the artwork was being built, the focal point is the NFL player or the Titans player, but there are subtle call outs to phrases from notable Nashvillians and Tennesseans that really come to life and pay homage to the city, that had encouraging quotes. And then there was, I think it was about 90 counties throughout the state of Tennessee that were woven into the experience. And so as we were looking to curate and really make this imagery come to life, we wanted to make sure that in our motion graphics, as well as in our 3D renderings, that we were able to call out the scripture of those quotes, as well as call out those particular counties, and then above all, really create a fun experience to kind of hype up the participants with making the character or the player really come to life. So if you can go ahead and play that video, we'll go ahead and show you that experience. The volume's a little low, but we had some thematic music coming here, and these were the scriptures or the quotes to kind of pop out. And the kind of big reveal as we hyped up, the player eventually comes to life. These are all the counties in Tennessee. And this is the Tennessee Tough mural. So the fascinating thing about this project is, this is an out-of-home campaign, right? And so when you're dealing with a natural environment during a pandemic where foot traffic and pedestrian flow, even though this is across the street from the Nashville Conference Center, we really needed to get smart with how we were going to execute the most ease of use from a user experience. And so during the pandemic, the positive byproduct of not being able to activate our traditional technologies, we were able to really work under the eighth wall platform with WebAR. So that platform gave us the opportunity to create this experience with a very seamless call to action or user experience by the sheer nature of using very basic QR codes. Again, another positive byproduct of the pandemic is old technology became new again with the QR code, and so as a result of restaurants getting smart with how they were looking to safely disclose menus and sort of create a two-way communication tool, the QR code became a new and sort of way accepting in our life. And what they wanted to do 20 years ago, they were essentially ahead of the time in terms of that call to action. But now, during this time frame, it allowed a very seamless, understandable user experience for pedestrians to simply see floor decals on the sidewalk with a very basic two-step interaction of scanning the QR code, accessing the camera, and then pointing directly right at the mural. And so under the platform, we were able to create what's called an image target in that, given that we had a panoramic view, we needed to make sure that we could hit this interaction across that stretch of sidewalk. And so we used the player cutout as the lens point to create that AR experience as that image target. So it allowed for a great canvas. It was almost like we were on a stage where the sidewalk was slightly above the parking lot where the building was constructed. And so it gave us a great vantage point, and so there was no detriment to the angles, and it was able to stay on target so everyone can kind of participate and enjoy that experience. And so we wanted to show a subset of a 3-week runtime of performance. Traditionally in an out-of-home campaign, they run anywhere from 2, 4, 6, maybe 8 weeks long. So we wanted to show what this organic experience provided for the Titans as well as the application itself. And so One of the most compelling things for a business like ours is we do very little internal marketing or public relations, and so we tend to just rely on the organic nature and promotion of what the activations are or what the technology is. So we were much surprised to see that we had 48 news stories revolving around this campaign, and it was a perfect storm in the sense that Nashville was the Titans were the very first NFL team to produce an AR mural of its nature, and it really worked within the city's fabric and the culture. Within those first 3 weeks, we had social media impressions over 1 million and a total reach of 2.2 million, as well as the most compelling feature is the engagement of the experience or the dwell time there, that we were averaging over 2 minutes per experience. And so if you, again, think about media, whether that's in-home or out-of-home, being able to engage a particular viewer for over 2 minutes is a beyond television commercial statistic in terms of its impression, right, or its dwell time. And so we were really pleased with that metrics in knowing that people launched the experience and they stayed and they watched it through and they wanted to see, what the reveal was going to be. And then finally, we were able to calculate that we had over 6,000 launches of the application within the first 3 weeks. Now remember, this is not promoted outside of the city limits. Pedestrians were very light in terms of the pandemic during the lockdowns, and we weren't even near the stadium, so we didn't have the opportunity to capture the game day crowd when they eventually went back in venue. So despite all of that, being able to organically see an out-of-home campaign that had a very easy call to action and user experience was a pretty compelling experience for us. And then obviously, the earned media attached to this based on the promotion and sort of the somewhat viral nature that allowed the Titans to essentially quantify a $1.5 million earned media rate based on this experience. And so despite popular opinion or what you may think marketing budgets are for professional sports organizations, they are not traditional to what brands spend or what other advertisers spend on these type of campaigns. And so for them to see a tenfold return on their investment is something that we really enjoy to kind of show the value that we can contribute to the clients that we work with and the technology that we produce. And so, it's really important that companies like ours as a technology company, we're not necessarily responsible to quantify such measurement, but we do provide enough data and access to the CMOs or the media managers to quantify that KPI to kind of see that return on their investment. The other key feature with this mural is that it's really running in perpetuity. And so the platform, again, I want to give a big shout out to the Eighth Wall team, and definitely I suggest visiting their booth if you're around tomorrow. But the platform allows us to really update content based on the messaging that the team is looking to do. Thankfully, they haven't demolished this building yet because the mural is sort of keeping it afloat and very popular. And so we've been able to change out content for in-season promotion, holiday promotion, and now we're kind of lapping into year 2. So we were able to create hype videos that promoted this upcoming season. So really fascinating that the longevity in terms of what this out-of-home campaign allows for. And then bringing this back into the home necessarily, it has been a pretty unique experience for us too, because the team were able to get smart and reformat this as an image, and then send out holiday messages and holiday cards to all of their season ticket holders, their vendors and such. And so you were able to literally experience this, at the pleasure of your home, at the comfort of your home through these holiday cards. One day I would love to see this experience kind of launch during a commercial. I think we've seen experiences similar during the Super Bowl where Pepsi created an AR experience, which I thought was fascinating. But for us, it was a great first of its kind within the NFL. And I think from a general pivot in terms of what the team wanted to produce for their fans, the city of Nashville really all came to life. And, it's proven to be extremely successful. And that's our campaign. So we've got a couple of minutes here. I think we're down to 4 minutes. So if you guys have any questions, happy to take them. If you guys want to start drinking, I encourage that as well. So yeah.
It's a really beautiful project. I'm just curious, did the users have to install an app, or is it all like web-based?
It's 100% web-based, and it's all launched through the QR code. And so that'll launch the experience, and then our camera, with that image target, essentially will lock into that player right there, which would launch the AR. And so we're really excited about producing right now in our pipeline. We have other WebAR experiences that hopefully this time next year we'll be talking about one of the upcoming projects that we're rolling out. It was very similar in nature to the previous presenter there, which was a phenomenal presentation as well. So, all right. Well, thanks for your time, guys. Thank you.